Imagine a quiet room with open windows. Outside, storms are throwing branches around, thunder is splitting the sky, and neighbors are shouting across the street. Yet inside this room, a single candle burns without trembling, and a clay cup of tea cools patiently on the table. This is the room you carry inside your chest. It is the only place the world cannot enter unless you invite it in. Feelings arrive like travelers at dusk, mud on their boots, stories on their tongues. They may knock loudly, but they are only visitors. Host them briefly, learn what you can, and let them depart when the lamp grows low. If you take anything from what follows, let it be. This peace is your home, not a hotel for every passing mood. We begin with the first principle, insults and offense. In a market at noon, a stranger presses a bundle into your arms and insists it is yours. The cloth is rough, the weight unpleasant. Must you keep it? The mind thinks so. They gave it to me. Now I must own it. But the wiser part of you knows the law of gifts unaccepted. They return to the giver. An insult works the same way. If you decline to receive it, it travels back to the one who offered it and finds no seat at your table. Still, it's hard not to clutch the bundle. The nervous system feels a spark of heat. The heart rushes to defend its small border as though a nation had invaded. We replay the words later in the shower, across the commute, beneath the sheets at night. We sharpen them with memory's whetstone until they cut again. Why do we do this? Attachment. Attachment to the idea of ourselves as stainless, always respected. Attachment to a story where justice arrives on time and everyone sees us clearly. But life is not a courtroom with a punctual judge. It is a river, sometimes clear, sometimes muddy, and if you jump in every time someone stirs the silt, you will never stop swallowing grit. Buddhist teaching turns the body into a monastery bell. When struck, the bell may vibrate, but it does not leap off its hook to chase the striker. It simply sings the sound of the blow, and then the sound fades back into silence. Your mind can do this too. When the sharp word lands, let it ring one breath, 2, 3. Feel it echo, then listen for the return of stillness. You do not deny that you were struck. You also do not abandon your hook. Consider a modern scene. A colleague questions your competence in a meeting. The air tightens and the old reflex rises. Argument, sarcasm retreat. But imagine another response. You loosen the jaw, plant your feet, and notice the floor's steady support. You ask a clarifying question in a calm tone, separating content from heat. Perhaps they reveal a genuine concern you can address. Perhaps their comment was a flare fired from their own insecurity. Either way, you remain the room with the open windows. Wind arrives, wind leaves. The candle continues to burn. This is not passivity. It is sovereignty. Passivity abandons the steering wheel and hopes not to crash. Sovereignty rests both hands lightly on the wheel and chooses a skillful lane. The Buddha's path is not to pretend people are kind when they are not, nor to pretend words do not sting when they do. It is to see clearly that the sting belongs to a passing moment, not to your essential nature. At your core is a sky vast enough for any weather. Rain can be honest rain, hail can be honest hail, but neither can bruise the sky. How to practice? Begin with the breath as a gatekeeper. When provoked before answering, take one breath that touches the floor of the lungs. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Count 1, then a second breath, 2. On 3, ask yourself, am I about to protect my peace or my pride? Pride loves a duel. Peace prefers a doorway. If you must speak, speak through that doorway. Precise, non-accusing, rooted in fact. When you said X, I felt Y. My intention with this project is Z. What would a good outcome look like to you? This is bamboo in the wind, supple but unbroken. Another practice, the cup test. Each morning, picture your mind as a cup on a tray. Throughout the day, people will pour things into it. Praise, blame, rumors, news, their urgency, their fear. Your task is not to forbid all pouring. Cups are made to receive. Your task is to choose what stays. At lunch, pour out what curdles. Before sleep, empty the rest. Begin tomorrow with a rinsed cup. In this way, you learn that offense is a sediment, not a sentence. It settles when left alone. Boundaries belong here too. Letting go of offense is not the same as allowing harm to repeat. A clear boundary is compassion in architecture. I won't accept being spoken to like that. If this continues, I'll step out of the conversation. You say it from the unmoved room, not from the hallway of fury. Remember, firmness without heat is the discipline of a monk who closes the gate at dusk. No hatred for the night, simply respect for the temple. When shame appears, maybe they're right. Maybe I am small. Treat it as you would a frightened child in a storm. Wrap it in a blanket of attention. Whisper, I hear you. Look for the kernel of learning inside, if any, and harvest it. The husk, the part that only bruises, goes to the compost pile. Over seasons, even husks feed the soil of wisdom. A teaching: if someone hands you a burning brand, you can set your house on fire, or you can use it to light the altar. Insults contain energy. Redirect it. Let their heat remind you to practice steadiness. Let it be the bell that calls you back to the cushion, the cue to stand taller in values you cherish: clarity, kindness, truth. In this way, even clumsy arrows become raw material for the forge. You may ask, but what about justice? Justice matters. Yet justice achieved by inflamed reaction often destroys the very clarity it needs. Act for justice from stillness. Document facts. Invite witnesses. Speak or escalate through proper channels. When your voice carries the gravity of composure, it travels farther. The Buddha's compassion is not a dim candle. It is a disciplined flame. Over time, you will notice the miracle: people can still be careless, and yet your day is not ruined. Someone can insult you at 9:17 a.m., and by 9:23 a.m., you are already free. This is not denial. It is craftsmanship, the craft of attention, guiding emotion toward release. The world remains imperfect, but your room grows more luminous. You will see that the person who insulted you has their own storm grief, not spoken, fear, not met hunger for significance. Seeing this does not excuse harm. It explains its weather. Compassion arises naturally, not the weak kind that lets everything slide, but the strong kind that refuses to add more injury to the world. So let the windows stay open. Let feelings visit like birds that come to the sill and leave a feather. Do not build cages for them. Let praise knock and depart without moving your furniture. Let blame do the same. Keep sweeping the floor. Keep boiling the kettle. Keep returning to the candle that does not tremble. Peace is not the absence of noise. It is the art of not granting noise a throne. We will carry this room with us up the next path, being strict with ourselves while tender toward others. If insults invite us to guard the doorway of the mind, discipline teaches us how to furnish the room with purpose, simple, clean, and warm for all who enter. There is a mountain that never competes with the clouds above it. It simply stands quiet and patient, letting the storms pass, letting the snow melt, letting the sun return when it's time. That mountain, that unshakable stillness lives within you. It doesn't shout, it doesn't chase it, simply remains. And in that stillness lies the balance that few truly master: the ability to be firm with yourself, yet gentle with others. We live in a world that rewards judgment. We measure, compare, correct. We look at others' paths and forget how rocky our own once was. But the Buddha taught a simple truth: the only person you truly need to discipline is yourself. And the only person you must learn to forgive again and again is everyone else. Being strict with yourself does not mean living in punishment. It means living with purpose. It's waking up each day and keeping the promises you made to your better self, even when no one is watching. It's choosing honesty when lies could make life easier. It's saying, "I will not follow every desire, I will follow what is right." True discipline is quiet. It does not boast. It simply walks. But being tolerant of others means understanding that every soul walks its own path, and not everyone's sunrise comes at the same hour. You may have found a certain light, while others are still searching through darkness. You may have learned patience, while someone else is still wrestling with their anger. The mistake we make is thinking they should already be where we are. The truth is, they are exactly where their lessons need them to be. There is a story of two monks walking through the rain. They meet a woman stranded by a river, unable to cross. One monk, without hesitation, lifts her in his arms and carries her over. Hours later, his companion breaks the silence. "Brother, how could you touch that woman? We are monks." The first smiles, his robes still damp from the rain. "I put her down at the riverbank," he says. "Why are you still carrying her?" That is the essence of this teaching. Be strict with yourself about your own vows, but do not imprison others in them. Every time you judge another, your heart tightens a little more. And every time you extend understanding instead, something inside you loosens like a knot slowly untied. Judgment is heavy. Compassion is light. When you let go of the need to correct everyone, you begin to breathe again. Think about the moments in your day when impatience appears. A driver cuts you off. A friend disappoints you. Someone speaks harshly. The mind leaps to react. They shouldn't have done that. But what if for a single breath you could pause and see beyond the surface? What if their anger is their suffering speaking? What if their mistake is a lesson still unfolding? Suddenly, their behavior loses its power to disturb your peace. Strictness with yourself means taking responsibility for your reactions, not their actions. It means saying, "I will meet chaos with calm, not because it's easy, but because it's my path." The Buddha never said the world would be gentle. He said we could be. At the same time, do not confuse tolerance with letting others harm you. Compassion without boundaries becomes self-neglect. To tolerate others is to understand them, not to accept their unkindness. When someone crosses your line, speak with calm firmness. Like a tree bending in the wind, you don't break. You simply return to upright when the gust passes. Imagine your life as a climb up that inner mountain. Some days the air is clear. Others it's hard to breathe. Sometimes you slip. Sometimes you soar. But as you ascend, you begin to see the valleys below other climbers, each on their own trail. Some resting, some lost, some still gathering the courage to take the first step. And you realize no one's pace diminishes your progress. The mountain doesn't compare its peaks. It simply rises in silence. When you learn to be strict with yourself, you become trustworthy not only to others, but to your own heart. When you learn to be tolerant of others, you become light, no longer burdened by expectations that people must behave according to your script. Together, these two forces create harmony, firmness, rooted in love. So the next time you feel anger toward someone's imperfection, take a breath and whisper inwardly, "They are climbing too." And the next time you are tempted to go easy on your own promises, remember, your climb depends on your steps, not theirs. As you walk this dual path of discipline and compassion, something miraculous begins to happen. The mountain inside you no longer feels alone. It feels connected to the rivers that carve it to the clouds, that crown it to the wind, that teaches it patience. You become strong without becoming hard. You become gentle without becoming weak. And in that stillness, you'll understand the Buddha's wisdom: conquer yourself, and you need not conquer anyone else. Now take that quiet strength with you as we move to the next truth, the one that will change the way you see everyone who crosses your path. For every soul, no matter how difficult, can become your greatest teacher. Close your eyes for a moment and think of the last person who tested your patience. Maybe it was a stranger who spoke harshly, a colleague who dismissed your effort, or a loved one whose words cut deeper than they knew. Feel that moment return, the tightening of the chest, the rush of heat behind your face, the quiet voice in your mind saying, "Why do they always do this to me?" Now imagine if instead of anger, your first thought had been, "What is this person here to teach me?" The entire scene changes. The storm remains, but your heart opens. You move from resistance to discovery, from reaction to awareness. The Buddha once said, "When watching after yourself, you watch after others. When watching after others, you watch after yourself." Every person who enters your life, gentle or cruel, calm or chaotic, is a reflection, a mirror polished by the hand of the universe to show you something about yourself. The kind person reminds you of gratitude. The unkind one reveals where your patience still cracks. Each meeting, each discomfort, each smile is a hidden classroom where the lesson waits only for your attention. We usually think of teachers as those who guide us kindly, who praise us, who inspire. But life's most powerful teachers often wear the masks of irritation, disappointment, or pain. The friend who interrupts you teaches the art of listening. The one who abandons you teaches the weight and beauty of independence. Even the one who betrays you is showing the sharp edge of attachment, and through it, the necessity of letting go. Imagine your life as a vast monastery, and every encounter is a monk ringing the bell. Some bells are soft like laughter, others are harsh like insult. But each ring calls you to return to awareness, to presence, to compassion. There are no accidental meetings. Every person who crosses your path, even for a moment, is a messenger of karma, carrying a lesson your soul requested long before you met. Let's bring this into the world we live in. You're in traffic, someone cuts you off. Your heart leaps, anger surges, a flame rising fast. But instead of feeding it with thoughts of blame, you breathe once and whisper silently, "Teacher." Instantly, the energy shifts. The anger still exists, but it dissolves quicker, like mist touched by sunlight. You've just transformed a mundane irritation into a doorway to mindfulness. In a similar way, think of the workplace, the family dinner, the public line at the store, the stage of everyday life. Each actor plays their part unknowingly, helping you refine your character. Some test your boundaries, teaching firmness. Some comfort your pain, teaching gratitude. And some confuse or hurt you, teaching discernment. When you see this, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this showing me?" That single question turns every burden into a bridge. In Buddhist thought, this is the practice of wise reflection. It is not passive acceptance. It is active learning, seeing clearly without blame. You might still speak up when necessary. You might still walk away from toxicity. but you do it with a heart free from resentment. You no longer punish others for being your teachers. A great monk once said, "People come into your life for 3 reasons: to love you, to challenge you, or to teach you. And sometimes they do all 3 at once." Think about that. The ones who hurt you the most often awaken the deepest wisdom. It is their friction that polishes your compassion into clarity. Without those challenges, your understanding would remain theory, gentle words without muscle. To live this principle is to become a student of everything. You watch your reactions like a scientist studying stars. When anger arises, you ask, "What wound is this pointing to?" When jealousy surfaces, "What desire have I not made peace with?" When joy visits, "What am I truly grateful for?" Each answer draws you closer to truth. There is a story told in the Zen temples of Kyoto. A young monk complained to his master, "Everyone here annoys me. One talks too loud, one eats too fast, one leaves his robe on my mat." The master smiled, saying only, "Ah, good, the monastery is working." Confused, the monk asked, "Working?" The master replied, "If you were already patient, humble, and kind, you wouldn't need to be here." The monk understood. The world is the monastery, and the people in it are the lessons. Even the smallest encounters carry meaning. The smile of a stranger on a hard day is a lesson in grace. The silence of a friend when you needed comfort is a lesson in self-reliance. The criticism of a mentor can be the mirror that sharpens your humility. When you begin to live this way, seeing lessons instead of losses, teachers instead of enemies, life transforms from battlefield to classroom. This doesn't mean you must enjoy every hardship or excuse every act of harm. It means you stop letting pain end with you. You receive it, learn from it, and then release it like a bird freed from its cage. Pain only becomes suffering when we refuse to let it teach us. So the next time someone stirs your emotions, pause and whisper inwardly, "You are my teacher today." You don't have to say it out loud. You don't have to thank them. But feel how that quiet shift releases you from the prison of resentment. The mind that learns sees life as it is, not as it should be. Eventually, you will come to a gentle truth. There are no bad teachers, only difficult lessons. Every insult, every misunderstanding, every act of kindness, every goodbye, all are part of your awakening. The world is not against you, it is instructing you. When you begin to live in this awareness, gratitude appears naturally. You stop demanding that people change and start appreciating the mirrors they hold. And as each reflection refines you, something miraculous happens. You hurt less, you understand more, and the same world that once seemed full of conflict becomes full of wisdom. So when the next lesson comes in the form of a person, a challenge, a loss, or a joy, meet it like a student bowing before the master. In that bow, humility becomes light and the soul becomes free. Now take that understanding with you, because the next step in this journey reveals an even deeper truth that no one, not even your harshest teacher, can truly harm you unless you let them. There is a river deep within you. You can hear it if you listen closely, beneath the noise, beneath the rush of thought. It flows quietly, steady and alive, unbothered by the stones that fall into it, untouched by the leaves that drift across its surface. No matter what enters the river, keeps moving. It does not stop to argue with the stone, nor does it mourn the leaf. It simply carries on. That river is your true self, the part of you that no insult, no rejection, no chaos can stain. But most people live at the surface where waves crash against the rocks and debris clings to the edges. We forget that the stillness beneath is always there waiting for us to return. How often do we let the words of others disturb our peace? A careless comment, a raised eyebrow, a digital silence on a message left unseen. The heart takes these small things and turns them into storms. We replay them, defend ourselves in imaginary conversations, create entire stories around moments that were never meant to define us. But the truth, the liberating, luminous truth, is that no one can hurt you unless you open the door and let them in. The Buddha said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may." The same is true of harm. No one can wound your peace unless you hand them the weapon. This isn't denial. It's sovereignty. It's the moment you realize that the battlefield exists only when you step into it. Think of a day when someone's words pierced you, a colleague questioning your ability, a loved one speaking in anger, a stranger's judgment that lingered longer than it should. The mind reacts instantly. I am attacked. But if you slow down and look deeper, you'll see something profound. Their words are reflections of their own weather, their own storm, not yours. You don't have to carry their rain. There's a story from the old sutras. A man once insulted the Buddha in public, pouring all his hatred into his words. The Buddha listened silently. When the man finished, the Buddha asked gently, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man replied, "To the one who offered it, of course." The Buddha smiled. "Then I do not accept your anger, and it remains with you." This is not weakness. It is mastery. The strength to not absorb another's poison is far greater than the impulse to strike back. Reaction is easy. Restraint is sacred. Mindfulness is the bridge that brings you from reaction to freedom. When someone's actions sting, pause. Breathe once, twice, slowly. Ask yourself, does this define me or them? Most of the time, the answer will be clear. Their words speak their pain. Your peace speaks your truth. Imagine this. You are standing on a bridge over that inner river. A person throws a stone at the water below. It makes a splash, loud, messy, momentary. Ripples appear, then fade. If you jump into the river to chase the stone, you create the turbulence yourself. But if you simply watch the ripples vanish and the water returns to calm, your awareness works the same way. Don't jump into every ripple. Let awareness witness it until it passes. Sometimes, though, harm doesn't come as insult. It comes as betrayal, loss, or indifference. The heart aches and the mind whispers, "They hurt me." But even then, look closer. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. The hurt is real. It's the stone hitting the surface. Suffering begins when we hold the stone, naming it, nursing it, refusing to let it go. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting or pretending nothing happened. It means choosing not to be ruled by what happened. It means saying, "Yes, this wounded me, but I will not carry the wound forever." Forgiveness is not for them. It is the act of setting yourself free from the weight of their actions. There's a quiet strength that arises when you realize your peace doesn't depend on the behavior of others. It's like standing in the middle of a storm, yet feeling no fear, because you've built a shelter within. The wind may rage, but it cannot move the foundation of a house that knows its ground. So how do you build that inner shelter? Through mindfulness, compassion, and clarity. When you notice a sting, label it softly, "This is pain." Then breathe into it without judgment. Feel it. Don't feed it. Pain, when acknowledged, passes through. Pain resisted lingers. You can also practice a small ritual when someone's words hurt you. Imagine writing them on a leaf, placing that leaf in the current of your inner river, and watching it float away. You don't have to push it. You don't have to control its direction. just let it go. The current knows the way, and yet protecting your peace does not mean ignoring boundaries. Compassion can coexist with strength. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, the kindest thing for both of you is clarity. You can say, "I wish peace for you, but I choose to step away." This is love without attachment distance, without resentment. It is the Buddha's middle path between passivity and aggression. Over time, you will notice a quiet miracle. The world will still speak, but its noise will not reach your heart so easily. People will still act, but your peace will no longer depend on their moods. You'll stop handing out keys to your inner home. The river inside you will remain clear, untouched, even as life throws its stones. And when someone tries to wound you, you'll see them not as an enemy, but as a traveler who has lost their way. You'll bow inwardly, not to submit, but to acknowledge the truth. You suffer, and I choose not to multiply suffering. That bow is the gesture of liberation. Eventually, you'll discover that being untouchable doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means being fully alive, but free. It's knowing that peace is not the absence of pain, but the ability to meet pain without losing yourself in it. So let the world speak. Let it praise. Let it criticize. Let it misunderstand. You, the river, the calm, the still witness, remain. In that unshakable stillness, you find a power greater than control, freedom. And from that freedom arises the next great transformation, learning how to turn envy, that old shadow of the heart, into the fire that lights your own path forward. Imagine walking through a vast garden filled with flowers of every kind, some tall, some small, some already in bloom, others still waiting for their season. You pause in front of a bright, perfect rose, its petals open in flawless symmetry, and for a fleeting moment you feel a sting, a sense of distance between its beauty and your own. That small ache, quiet but sharp, is envy. Yet what if that feeling wasn't a curse but a compass? What if it pointed you toward what your soul secretly longs to grow into? Buddhist wisdom teaches that envy is not the enemy. Ignorance of its message is. Envy appears when we witness a reflection of our own potential, a possibility we haven't yet embodied. But instead of recognizing it as a teacher, we often twist it into comparison, resentment, or self-doubt. We say, "Why them? Why not me?" The truth is simpler and far more liberating. It is you, only in a different form at a different time. In the ancient texts, the Buddha said, "Do not be jealous of others' good qualities, but adopt them yourself." The message is clear. What you admire in another is an invitation, not a competition. Every talent, every success, every grace you see in others is a mirror showing you what's possible within your own being. Think about a time you saw someone living the life you wanted, calm, confident, radiant, or accomplished. The heart tightens. The mind whispers, "They have something I don't." But that whisper is mistaken. The feeling of envy is simply a signal. Pay attention here. This is what you value. This is what your spirit desires to express. When you listen with wisdom, envy becomes inspiration. Imagine a young artist who visits a gallery and sees a masterpiece hanging on the wall. She feels both awe and sadness. "I could never paint like that," she thinks. But then she looks closer at the brushstrokes, the colors, the years of practice hidden behind each line. Suddenly, envy softens into curiosity. How did they do it? That moment when pain turns into wonder is the beginning of transformation. In our modern lives, envy often hides behind the glow of screens. We scroll through images of success, beauty, and happiness, believing others are ahead while we are left behind. But remember, what you see is a fragment of someone else's journey, not the whole path. Every tree that stands tall today once struggled through storms you did not witness. Every person you admire has walked through their own valleys of doubt. When you look only at their mountaintop, you miss the climb that built it. So how do we turn envy into emulation? The practice begins with awareness. The next time envy arises, pause and say softly, "This feeling is showing me what I desire to grow." Instead of drowning in comparison, turn your gaze inward. Ask yourself, what qualities in them call to me? Maybe it's their discipline, their kindness, their courage, or their consistency. Write it down. Reflect on it. Then take one small step to embody that same quality in your own way. If you envy someone's calm, begin meditating 5 minutes a day. If you admire someone's generosity, start giving a smile, a helping hand, a word of encouragement. If you admire someone's strength, practice patience through your own storms. Each act of emulation transforms envy from poison into medicine. Here's a gentle truth. There's no such thing as someone else's success. We are all part of the same field of consciousness, the same flowing river of life. When another soul blossoms, it does not steal your sunlight. It proves the sun is shining. There's an old Zen story about a bamboo grove and a pine tree. The pine said, "You grow so fast. It's unfair." The bamboo smiled. "When I was beneath the soil, I built my roots for years before anyone saw me." The pine paused and nodded, realizing that every being grows at its own rhythm. The lesson is timeless. Trust your season. Your roots are preparing for the day you will rise. Sometimes envy arises, not from lack, but from longing, a deep recognition of what's sleeping inside you. When you see someone brave, it awakens the courage you've buried. When you meet someone wise, it stirs the wisdom you've ignored. In this way, envy becomes a lantern, not to shame you, but to show you where to walk. In Buddhist thought, this transformation is called mudita, sympathetic joy. It is the ability to rejoice in the happiness and success of others. Practicing mudita doesn't mean pretending to be glad when you're secretly jealous. It means nurturing joy until it becomes real. Start small. When someone succeeds, whisper a blessing in your heart. May their joy continue. May their light remind me of my own. This soft prayer changes the chemistry of your being. What once constricted your heart begins to expand it. Soon, something beautiful happens. You stop measuring life in wins and losses. You begin to see that another's light doesn't dim yours. It shows you where the path is brighter. You stop competing and start learning. You stop grasping and start growing. Over time, this shift becomes freedom. You walk into rooms no longer wondering who's better, but what you can learn. You celebrate others without feeling smaller. You become a vessel of quiet confidence, inspired by the greatness around you, never threatened by it. And then one day, without noticing, you'll become the one others envy. They'll look at your calm, your kindness, your strength, and wonder how you achieved it, and your heart will smile. Remembering envy is not a wall, it's a doorway. You walked through it once, and now you are the light that shows another the way. So when envy next visits, and it will welcome it like a teacher knocking at your door, thank it for showing you what you love, what you long for, what you are becoming. Turn that ache into action, that comparison into creation, that jealousy into joy. For in truth, envy is only the shadow cast by your own unrealized potential. Step into the light, and the shadow disappears. And when the heart learns to transform its shadows into growth, another lesson awaits: the power of surrender, the art of making peace with what is. There is a quiet kind of strength that does not shout, does not struggle, does not resist. It is the strength of the sea, accepting every wave, every tide, every storm that passes through. No matter what the wind brings, the sea remains whole. This is the power of acceptance, the art of surrender without defeat. Most of us are taught to fight life. We are trained to fix, control, push, and demand. We carry invisible ropes in our hands, pulling against what is, as if we could drag the world into our preferred shape. But life does not yield to force. The harder you pull, the tighter the rope burns your palms. Acceptance, however, is the moment you decide to let go, not because you've given up, but because you finally understand that peace isn't found in control. It's found in release. The Buddha said, "Accept what is, let go of what was, and have faith in what will be." Such simple words, yet they hold the key to freedom. Acceptance is not passive. It does not mean sitting idle while life happens to you. It means seeing things as they truly are, without the fog of resistance or the fantasy of what should be, and meeting that reality with clarity and grace. Imagine standing in the rain. You can curse the sky, run for shelter, or simply open your hands and feel the drops fall cool and honest against your skin. The rain will not stop for your anger. But when you stop fighting it, something beautiful happens. You begin to feel alive again. Acceptance is like that. It doesn't change the rain, but it changes your experience of being in it. There's a story of a monk who carried an old clay bowl everywhere he went. One day, the bowl slipped from his hands and shattered on the stone floor. For a moment, silence filled the room. Then the monk smiled softly and said, "Ah, so it has fulfilled its purpose." There was no sorrow, no anger, only understanding. He didn't pretend to be happy about the loss. He simply accepted it as part of the bowl's journey, part of his own. We resist not because life is cruel, but because we believe it should be different. We cling to our expectations the way a drowning man clings to driftwood, hoping it will save us, not realizing it's what keeps us from swimming. Acceptance begins when we loosen that grip. Think of something in your life that didn't go as planned, a dream that fell apart, a love that faded, an opportunity that passed by. The mind still circles it, whispering, "It shouldn't have been this way." But every should is a chain that ties you to suffering. When you replace it with, "It is what it is," you cut the chain and free your heart to move again. Acceptance doesn't mean liking what happened. It means acknowledging what happened without letting it define your peace. You can grieve, you can feel pain, you can even cry. But through it all, you hold the awareness that life continues, that this too will pass. In Buddhism, this is called upekkha equanimity. It is the calmness that arises when you stop dividing life into good and bad and simply see it as experience. Joy and sorrow become two sides of the same river, flowing together toward wisdom. To practice acceptance, start with small things. When the line at the store moves, slowly breathe. When someone misunderstands you, smile gently. When plans change, whisper inwardly, "This too belongs." Each act of acceptance is a thread that weaves peace into your daily life. There's a quiet magic in accepting what you cannot control. You begin to see patterns you missed before, how endings lead to beginnings, how closed doors redirect you to better paths, how loss carves space for something new. What once felt like chaos starts to reveal an underlying order, a hidden compassion guiding you forward. Imagine your life as a river. You can spend years fighting its current, trying to swim upstream, insisting that it should flow your way. But when you finally stop struggling and let the river carry you, you discover that it was always leading you somewhere meaningful, not where you wanted perhaps, but where you needed to be. Acceptance doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful, because when you stop wasting energy on resisting what is, you free that energy to shape what can be. You become aligned with reality instead of at war with it. From that alignment comes clarity, the kind that helps you act wisely, not react blindly. The Buddha likened life to holding a burning torch. If you grasp it too tightly, you get burned. If you let it go completely, it falls away. But when you hold it with awareness, lightly, steadily, it illuminates your path. Acceptance is holding life like that gently, with understanding, without demand. And here lies the paradox. When you stop fighting, life begins to cooperate with you. Opportunities appear where you once saw obstacles. Peace returns where there was tension. The same storm that once threatened to drown you becomes the rain that helps you grow. So tonight, when you lie in bed, replaying the day, the words you wish you hadn't said, the moments you wish had gone differently, pause, take a slow breath and whisper, "This too is part of the path." Let the weight in your chest soften. Let your heart rest in the knowing that life doesn't need to be perfect to be sacred. When you practice acceptance, you stop chasing peace and start living it. You realize that serenity is not something to earn. It's what remains when you stop arguing with reality. And once you've tasted that serenity, the kind that cannot be shaken by change, you'll begin to sense another truth, rising quietly within you, that nature itself in all its rhythms and impermanence has been teaching this lesson all along. There are mornings when the sky feels endless, when the air carries a quiet tenderness you can almost touch. You step outside and the world speaks in whispers, the slow hum of bees, the rhythm of leaves brushing against one another, the soft breath of wind on your face. This is nature's language. It says, everything changes, everything belongs. To live in harmony with nature is to remember this truth, that life moves in cycles, not straight lines. The sun rises, the sun sets. The tide comes and the tide goes out. Trees shed their leaves only to bloom again. Even decay serves the next generation of growth. But we humans forget. We resist the turning of seasons within and around us. We want endless spring, constant success, unbroken youth, permanent comfort. Yet in denying impermanence, we deny life itself. The Buddha said, "Just as a candle cannot burn without fire, men cannot live without a spiritual life. And the deepest spiritual life is one that listens to the earth. For the earth is the original temple, and silence is its prayer." Look closely, and you'll see how nature lives the Dharma, the universal law of balance and interconnection. The mountain does not boast its height, nor the river its path. The flower does not rush to bloom before its time. The tree does not grieve when autumn strips it bare. It simply waits for spring. This effortless acceptance is the very heart of wisdom. When we fight life's changes, we suffer. When we flow with them, we awaken. Think of a tree standing in the wind. The rigid branch snaps. The flexible one bends and returns upright when the wind passes. Strength nature teaches us is not hardness, it is adaptability. The oak that bows lives longer than the one that resists. And so it is with us. The people who survive life's storms are not the ones who fight them most fiercely, but the ones who learn how to dance with the rain. In our modern world, we've grown distant from this rhythm. We rush under artificial light, cut ourselves off from the soil, and measure our days by screens rather than sunsets. But beneath all the noise, we still belong to the earth. The same carbon that forms the stars runs in our blood. The same air that feeds the trees fills our lungs. We are not visitors here. We are extensions of this living web. To harm nature is to harm our own spirit. Imagine sitting by a river at dusk. The water reflects the sky orange, melting into purple clouds, drifting like thoughts. You toss a pebble, watch the ripples spread, and realize every action, every word, every thought sends ripples into the world. The fish feel them, the reeds sway, the light shifts. This is karma, the sacred law of cause and effect, visible in the language of water. When you live in harmony with nature, you stop demanding control and start participating in balance. You eat when you're hungry, rest when you're tired, speak only when it adds kindness. You begin to measure time, not by clocks, but by breaths. You no longer rush to the next moment because you understand that each moment is part of an infinite cycle, a pulse that began long before you and will continue long after. There's an old Zen saying, sitting quietly doing nothing, spring comes and the grass grows by itself. It is a reminder that not everything requires effort. Some things, healing, growth, clarity, unfold naturally when you stop interfering. Like a pond clearing after a storm, stillness reveals truth. Try this once a week. Go outside and let nature teach you. Don't bring music. Don't bring a goal. Just sit. Watch the ants carry their grains of sand, the clouds drift, the light shift. Notice how nothing hurries, yet everything gets done. Nature does not chase perfection, yet it embodies it. When you align your life with these rhythms, stress begins to soften. You wake with the sun and rest with the stars. You eat foods that grew under real light. You listen to rain as it falls, not as noise, but as music. The more you attune to these simple truths, the clearer your inner world becomes. Even suffering finds its place here. A broken branch becomes soil for a new tree. A forest fire gives birth to richer land. Likewise, our losses feed our growth. Nature never wastes pain, she recycles it into wisdom. And so should we. There is also humility in this harmony. The ocean does not apologize for its size. The bird does not envy the mountain. Each being fulfills its role in the vast choreography of existence. The lesson is gentle yet profound. You do not need to be more than you are. You only need to be fully what you are. When you breathe with awareness, you realize the air entering your lungs was once inside a tree. The same water you drink once fell as ancient rain. You are not separate. You are the continuation of everything that has ever lived. Knowing this, gratitude blooms naturally, not as duty, but as wonder. Each morning you might bow inwardly to the sun, not worshiping it, but honoring the rhythm it represents. Each night you might thank the darkness for reminding you to rest. This is mindfulness woven into the fabric of nature, and in this way, living in harmony with nature becomes living in harmony with yourself. You stop demanding that your life always bloom. You learn to respect the seasons of your own soul, times of growth, times of stillness, times of letting go. You realize that even winter in its silence is part of the dance. In the end, nature's greatest lesson is surrender, the same wisdom we found in the previous teaching. Everything that resists the flow eventually breaks. Everything that trusts the flow eventually arrives. When you live this truth, peace ceases to be an idea. It becomes a rhythm inside your breath, a calm pulse in your being. So walk outside and listen. Truly, listen. The trees, the sky, the rain, the earth. They are not just background to your story. They are your teachers, your mirrors, your oldest companions. And if you sit long enough, quietly enough, you might just hear them whisper the most sacred mantra of all: you are home. And once you've found that home in the heart of nature, the next question arises naturally: how to live in the world with integrity, with ethics that reflect that harmony. That is where the next truth unfolds. Imagine a lake at dawn, perfectly still, so clear that the sky above and its reflection below become one. You can't tell where heaven ends and earth begins. Then a single stone falls and ripples move outward in delicate circles, touching every part of the lake's surface. This is the nature of our actions. Every thought, every word, every gesture we offer to the world sends ripples across the fabric of existence. Nothing we do ends with us. Everything continues, touching hearts we'll never meet, shaping futures we'll never see. This is the essence of ethical living, living with the awareness that your every choice matters. In Buddhism, it is known as Sila, the foundation of a peaceful life. The Buddha said, "What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create." Ethical living is not about perfection or punishment. It is about alignment, allowing your actions to harmonize with your values, your words to reflect your truth, and your life to become a mirror of kindness. We often think of ethics as rules. Don't steal, don't lie, don't harm. But beneath these rules lies something deeper, a way of seeing the world as interconnected, where harming another is never truly separate from harming yourself. To live ethically is to understand that you and the world are one continuous heartbeat. Picture this. You're at work, faced with a choice. Take a small shortcut that no one will notice, or stay true to what's right, even if it costs you time or praise. The mind tempts you, whispering, "It doesn't matter," but deep inside, your conscience knows. Integrity isn't about who's watching. It's about who you are when no one is. Every time you choose the honest path, even in silence, your heart grows stronger, like a muscle exercised in stillness. Ethical living is not limited to morality. It is mindfulness in action. It's how you treat the person serving your food, how you speak when angry, how you spend money, how you respond to gossip. It's the invisible kindness that no one applauds, the small act of restraint, the quiet forgiveness, the decision not to return harm for harm. These moments build invisible strength, and they ripple outward, shaping the unseen peace of the world. There's a story of a young disciple who once asked his master, "What is the secret to enlightenment?" The master replied, "Do good, avoid evil, and purify your mind." The disciple frowned. "That sounds too simple." The master smiled gently. "Then do it for one day completely." Simplicity, the master knew, is not the same as ease. The path of ethics is simple, but to live it fully requires vigilance, not out of fear, but out of love for peace. In today's world, integrity can feel old-fashioned, even inconvenient. It's easier to cut corners to seek applause instead of truth. But ethical living is not about impressing others. It's about being able to look at your own reflection without flinching. When your thoughts, words, and actions align, you become like that lake at dawn, calm, clear, and whole. To practice ethical living, start small. Speak truth, even when silence would be simpler. Choose patience over pride. Use what you need, share what you can. When anger rises, pause before reacting. When envy whispers, bless instead of compete. Ethics is not a list of don'ts. It's the art of remembering that every choice is an offering. Ask yourself, what am I offering to the world right now? peace or disturbance. The Buddha spoke of the 5 precepts not as commandments, but as paths to freedom to refrain from harming, because life is sacred, to refrain from stealing because contentment is wealth, to refrain from false speech because truth is strength, to refrain from harmful sexuality because respect is love, to refrain from intoxication because clarity is liberation. Each precept is a thread, and together they weave the robe of inner peace. When you live by them, you're not following orders. You're tuning your life to the frequency of wisdom. Ethical living also means compassion toward yourself. To live purely is not to live perfectly. You will stumble, you will forget, you will speak in haste. But the Buddha never asked for saints. He asked for sincerity. When you fall, bow to the moment, learn, and begin again. Even repentance, when done with awareness, becomes a form of purification. A heart guided by ethics radiates peace. People feel safe in your presence because they sense truth in your energy. You no longer need to convince or control. Your being becomes its own teaching. Integrity is silent influence. It speaks without words. There is also beauty in restraint. When others gossip and you choose quiet, that silence is noble. When others hurry and you move mindfully, your slowness becomes a lesson. Ethical living transforms the ordinary into the sacred because every moment becomes an opportunity to serve truth. And yet, living ethically in a chaotic world takes courage. There will be times when doing right costs you comfort, times when honesty isolates you, times when kindness goes unseen. But remember, this peace is never found in approval. It's found in alignment. When your actions align with your heart, you stand unshaken, even if you stand alone. In this way, ethics becomes your compass. It doesn't promise that storms won't come, but it ensures you won't lose your way when they do. You'll navigate the world with calm certainty, knowing that every step you take leaves a footprint of integrity behind. And when the world around you seems cruel or unfair, ethical living reminds you of your power, the power to choose compassion when others choose anger, to choose honesty when others choose deceit, to choose understanding when others choose division. Each choice, however small, plants a seed of awakening. At the end of the day, when you lie in bed and review your day, don't ask, "Was I perfect?" Ask, "Was I kind? Was I true?" If the answer is yes, even once, then the day has been well lived. For a peaceful life is not built through grand gestures, but through countless small moments of honesty. And each of those moments becomes a light, gentle, steady, guiding you home to yourself. And as this light of integrity grows stronger within you, it prepares the heart for the next great truth, the practice that transforms the ordinary into the sacred, the cultivation of gratitude. There is a kind of magic hidden in the simplest things. A morning breeze through an open window, the sound of water boiling, the warmth of sunlight touching your skin. Most days we walk past these small miracles without seeing them. Our eyes look, but our hearts hurry. We chase what's missing and overlook what's here. Gratitude is the art of seeing again, of learning to recognize that every breath, every moment, every heartbeat is already enough. The Buddha said, "Let us rise up and be thankful for. If we didn't learn a lot today, we learned a little. And if we didn't learn a little, at least we didn't get sick. And if we got sick, at least we didn't die. So let us all be thankful." Gratitude in its truest form is not a mood, it's awareness. It's the ability to find beauty, not because life is perfect, but because you have learned to look deeper. When we live without gratitude, the mind becomes a restless wanderer, always measuring, always lacking. It says, when I get this, I'll be happy. And when it gets that thing, it immediately moves the goalpost. But when gratitude enters, the same world looks different, not because the world has changed, but because the eyes have softened. Imagine waking each morning with this thought, nothing is owed to me. Suddenly, everything becomes a gift. The food on your plate, the breath in your lungs, the people who love you, none of them are guaranteed. Gratitude turns what you have into abundance, and abundance has little to do with possessions. It is a feeling of fullness that no external wealth can purchase. There's an old story of a monk who once lost his only bowl. When asked how he felt, he smiled and said, "Now I have the joy of eating with my hands." He wasn't pretending that the loss didn't matter. He simply chose to see it differently. Gratitude is the discipline of the heart that turns even difficulty into a doorway for appreciation. In modern life, we're surrounded by abundance, but starved for appreciation. We scroll past beauty, we consume moments instead of savoring them. But gratitude asks us to slow down to taste, to listen, to touch the present moment. It reminds us that joy isn't found in what's new, but in what's noticed. To cultivate gratitude, begin with small rituals. Each morning before you reach for your phone, place a hand over your heart and name 3 things you are thankful for. Not grand achievements, just simple truths. I woke up. I can breathe. The world still holds color. These acknowledgments set the tone for the day, a quiet readiness to receive life as it is. And each night before sleep, reflect again. What moments today made my soul smile? Maybe it was a stranger's kindness, a soft laugh, a memory that resurfaced, or even a challenge that taught you patience. Write them down. The act of remembering reinforces the mind's ability to notice blessings. Slowly, the habit of complaint begins to fade, replaced by an instinct to see beauty first. Gratitude also transforms pain. When life feels heavy, gratitude becomes your anchor. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" When you can find gratitude, even in struggle, suffering loses its teeth. The heart no longer feels like a battlefield, it becomes a field of learning. There was once a farmer who lost half his crops to a storm. His neighbor pitied him, saying, "Such bad luck." The farmer replied, "Maybe." Weeks later, the surviving crops thrived more than ever because the soil had been nourished by the rain. The neighbor said, "Such good luck." The farmer smiled again. Maybe gratitude is like that. It lives in the space between judgment and acceptance, trusting that life's storms might carry hidden blessings. Scientific minds call it neuroplasticity. Gratitude rewires the brain. Spiritual minds call it awakening. Gratitude rewires the soul. Either way, it works. The more you practice it, the more the mind learns to rest on what's good rather than what's missing. Gratitude is also a form of humility. It says, "I do not stand alone." It acknowledges the web of kindness that sustains your life, the hands that grew your food, the people who taught you, the ancestors who walked before you, the unseen forces that keep your heart beating. You realize you are held always by countless acts of grace. And then there is a higher form of gratitude, not just for what pleases you, but for what shapes you. Gratitude for the heartbreak that deepened your compassion. Gratitude for the failure that redirected your path. Gratitude for the silence that taught you to listen. When you can thank even the moments that once hurt, you have entered the realm of liberation. Try this meditation, close your eyes, and visualize someone who has caused you pain. Now, instead of resentment, whisper, "Thank you for showing me where I needed to grow." Feel the shift, not of weakness, but of release. Forgiveness begins with gratitude for the lesson. Soon you begin to see that life is always giving, even when it takes away. The breath you inhale is a gift. The breath you exhale is an offering. Each moment is a cycle of giving and receiving. Gratitude is the awareness that turns this rhythm into a dance. When gratitude becomes your natural state, joy no longer depends on circumstances. A cup of tea feels sacred. A quiet morning feels divine. The smallest moment becomes enough. And perhaps that's what enlightenment truly is, not an escape from life, but an intimate appreciation of it. When you live with gratitude, you no longer need to chase happiness. You become happiness. And from this fullness, from this quiet joy that gratitude awakens, arises the final act of wisdom, the art of letting go and trusting the process of life itself. Imagine standing by a river with your hands clenched tightly around a rope. On the other end, the current pulls hard, the rope strains, the water roars, your grip burns. You tell yourself, "If I can just hold on a little longer, maybe I can control this." But the current never stops, and the rope never softens. The pain only grows. The moment you release it, when your fingers finally open, the pain fades. The river keeps flowing, but now you are free. This is the essence of letting go. The Buddha taught that the root of all suffering is attachment, our desperate need to control what we cannot, to keep what must change, to avoid what must come. Life is not a static picture. It is a moving dance. When you cling to a single step, you miss the music. Trusting the process means surrendering the illusion of control and learning to move with the rhythm instead of against it. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means giving in, not to defeat, but to flow. You stop trying to force life to match your plans and start allowing it to unfold in its own divine timing. We cling because we are afraid that if we loosen our grip, everything will fall apart. But here is the quiet truth. Things fall apart so that new things can come together. The leaf must detach from the branch before it can feed the soil. The seed must break open before it can bloom. Everything in nature trusts the process. Only the human mind resists it. Think about the moments in your life when you held on too tightly to a relationship, a dream, a version of yourself that no longer fit. You thought that letting go would mean losing everything, yet when you finally released your grasp, what came next was clarity, peace, sometimes even joy. The storm you feared turned out to be the cleansing rain that revealed the sky again. In Buddhist practice, trust is an act of wisdom. It is the recognition that life has its own intelligence, deeper than your plans, kinder than your fears. When you trust, you step out of the narrow corridor of how things should be and enter the vast temple of how things are. There's a story told of a monk who was assigned to plant trees in the monastery garden. Each day, he watered and cared for them, but he grew impatient. The trees weren't growing fast enough. So one day, he pulled each one upward by its stem to help them along. By morning, every tree had withered. The master found him weeping and said gently, "You tried to control what only time can perfect." Life, like those trees, grows not by force, but by faith. When you trust the process, you replace anxiety with curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is life trying to show me?" That single shift turns chaos into teacher, uncertainty into sacred ground. Mindfulness helps in this surrender. Notice how often your mind tightens around expectation, the need for people to behave a certain way, for outcomes to unfold on your schedule. Each time you notice, breathe. Loosen your grip by even one thought. Whisper inwardly, I release. Over time, you'll find that peace doesn't come from holding tighter, it comes from trusting deeper. Letting go also means forgiving yourself. We carry so much weight, regrets from the past, mistakes replayed like broken records. But the Buddha reminded us, you yourself, as much as anybody in the universe, deserve your love and affection. Trust that even your missteps were part of your path. Every wrong turn led you to wisdom. Every fall taught you to rise. Nothing was wasted. There's freedom in this trust, a spaciousness that allows life to surprise you. You begin to see that you don't need to control the waves to stay afloat. You only need to stop fighting the tide. Try this. Sit quietly and bring to mind something you've been clinging to. A fear, a memory, a person, an outcome. Feel its weight in your chest. Now imagine placing it gently in the palms of your hands. With your next exhale, visualize opening your hands and letting it drift away, carried by the current of life. Whisper softly, I trust. Trust doesn't erase pain, but it transforms it. It turns resistance into reverence. It helps you see that even detours are part of the destination. Life is not punishing you. It is preparing you. When you let go, you make room for new people, new dreams, new peace. The universe loves an open heart. It cannot fill a closed fist. In the end, trusting the process is an act of love. Love for the mystery. Love for the unfolding love, for the way life never stops creating itself through you. You will lose things, yes, but you will also find what was never lost. Your still center, your timeless awareness, your quiet belonging in the great dance of change. And when you stand in that awareness, calm, unburdened, unafraid, you begin to see that letting go is not the end of anything. It is the beginning of everything. And in that spacious beginning, when you feel your heart open and light again, you may notice something else, a deep connection calling you back to love. Not the clinging kind, but the kind that is free, selfless, and awake. That is where we journey next. There's a flower blooming in a quiet garden. Its petals open toward the morning light, without effort, without fear. The flower does not cling to the bee that visits, nor does it chase the breeze that carries its fragrance away. It simply stands, radiant, rooted alive. That is the image of true love in Buddhist wisdom, open, steady, and free. We are taught from childhood that love means possession, that care means control, that closeness means holding tightly. But the Buddha revealed a deeper truth. Attachment is not love. It is fear dressed in affection. Attachment says, I need you to be this way so that I can be happy. Love says, I want you to be free, even if your path takes you away from me. Non-attachment in relationships is not indifference. It is the highest form of love, one that cherishes without clinging, one that nurtures without demanding, one that allows instead of owns. It is love that breathes. Imagine standing beside a river. You cup your hands to drink from it. The cool water refreshes you. But if you try to trap it, it slips through your fingers. Love is like that. It must move to stay alive. When we cling, we stagnate. When we allow flow, we grow. Many people confuse non-attachment with emotional distance, but it is the opposite. Non-attachment deepens connection because it removes fear. When you are not trying to control another, you can finally see them, their beauty, their struggle, their truth. You stop loving their potential and start loving their presence. Think of how relationships often begin. Two people meet, and something in their souls recognizes itself in the other. It feels divine, but soon the mind begins to build walls, expectations, labels, conditions. We start to say, "You are mine," as if another soul could ever belong to us. And slowly, what was once spacious begins to tighten. The joy of discovery turns into the fear of loss. The Buddha taught that all suffering comes from attachment, not because we shouldn't love, but because we mistake love for ownership. True love is a partnership of two complete beings, not two halves trying to fill each other's emptiness. It is meeting as equals, walking side by side, yet always knowing that each must travel their own inner path. There's a story of a young woman who fell deeply in love with a kind man. She adored him so much that she began to shape her world around him. His moods became her weather, his silence her storm. When he left, her world shattered. In her grief, she sought guidance from a wise nun. The nun poured tea into a cup until it overflowed. "See this," she said, "when your love overflows with attachment, it spills into suffering." The young woman wept. "How can I love without losing myself?" The nun smiled. "Love like the sun, give warmth, but do not cling to who stands in the light." That is the essence of non-attachment to love, like sunlight, unconditional, unwavering, shining on all, without asking anything in return. Practicing non-attachment doesn't mean avoiding relationships. It means entering them with awareness. You still care deeply. You still feel joy and sorrow, but you don't let the waves of emotion drown your inner peace. You can say goodbye without hatred, stay with someone without losing your boundaries, and forgive without forgetting your worth. In daily life, this practice begins with mindfulness. When you notice yourself clinging, needing a message, an apology, or a certain outcome, pause, breathe, ask gently, "Am I loving or am I fearing?" Love is open, fear is tight. When fear speaks, soften it with compassion. Remember, the goal is not to detach from people, but from your dependence on them for happiness. Non-attachment also means accepting that change is natural. People grow, move, evolve. The person you love today may not be the same a year from now, and neither will you. Clinging to who they were is like trying to hold yesterday's sunlight. When we let each other evolve freely, love matures into something timeless, a connection not bound by form, but rooted in spirit. This kind of love brings peace, not drama. It heals rather than harms. It allows space for individuality and authenticity. You stop demanding constant reassurance because you trust the foundation, not of the relationship, but of yourself. To practice this, imagine those you love as birds in an open sky. You can watch them soar beside you, but they are not yours to cage. You can admire their beauty, but you cannot own their flight. If one day they land beside you, let gratitude fill your heart. If they fly elsewhere, let blessing follow them. In this way, love becomes a meditation. Each moment shared, each goodbye, accepted, each reunion, cherished. And as you love freely, your capacity for compassion expands beyond romance or friendship. You begin to see that everyone you meet deserves the same gentle freedom to be, to learn, to grow, to find their way home in their own time. The Buddha's way is not to love less, but to love better. To love without chains, without fear, without need. To love so purely that even when loss comes, Love remains vast, serene, eternal. And in that purity, you discover that letting go does not end love. It reveals its truest form, because real love is not about holding hands, it's about holding space. When your heart learns to love in this way, with open hands and steady peace, you will begin to crave less noise, fewer explanations, fewer battles. You will begin to understand the power of silence, the next teaching on this path of awakening. There are moments when the world feels unbearably loud, voices clashing, thoughts spinning, emotions crashing like waves against the shore of your heart. You want to speak, to defend, to prove, to correct. But something deep within whispers, "Be still." That whisper is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is silence calling you home. In Buddhist thought, silence is not emptiness, it is presence. It is the fertile ground where understanding grows, the space where truth can finally be heard. The Buddha often sat in silence before answering a question, not because he didn't know, but because he wanted the questioner to meet the stillness within themselves. True silence is not the absence of sound, it is the absence of reaction. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a storm. The wind howls, rain lashes your face, thunder shakes the sky. If you fight the storm, it consumes you. But if you close your eyes and stand still, something miraculous happens. The storm passes sooner. That stillness is your silence. It is not surrender to chaos, it is mastery of it. In today's world, silence is rare. We fill every pause with noise, conversation, music, scrolling, distraction. We mistake speaking for connection and noise for meaning. Yet the deepest truths come not from what we say, but from what we allow ourselves to feel in quiet. Silence is where awareness is born, where the mind's waves settle enough for you to see clearly beneath the surface. Think of a pond disturbed by wind. As long as the wind keeps blowing, you cannot see the reflection of the moon. But when the air grows still, the surface becomes a mirror, and the moon, your inner wisdom, reveals itself. The practice of silence is the art of calming the inner wind. There's a story of a monk who was insulted daily by a man in his village. One day the man asked mockingly, "Why don't you ever respond? Don't my words anger you?" The monk smiled. "When someone offers me a gift and I do not take it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man, confused, said, "To the one who offered it." The monk bowed gently. "Then I leave your anger with you." His silence was not passivity, it was the strength to remain untouched. Silence, when practiced consciously, becomes a shield, not a wall of withdrawal, but a field of protection. When someone attacks you with words, your silence disarms them. When chaos surrounds you, your stillness steadies the air. When the mind races, your quiet presence reminds it there is nothing to fix in this moment. But silence is not only defense, it is also revelation. It reveals truth about yourself, about others, about life. In silence, you begin to notice things you missed, the sound of your breath, the weight of your emotions, the subtle patterns in your mind. You start to see where your pain hides and how your heart truly feels. Silence brings light to the corners of your consciousness that words can't reach. Try this practice. Find a few minutes each day to sit without distraction. No phone, no sound, no goal. Just breathe and listen. At first, the mind will resist. It will whisper, "This is pointless. You should be doing something." Let the thoughts come and go. Beneath the chatter, there's a deep current of peace waiting to be felt. Stay long enough and you'll hear it. You can also practice silence in speech. Before you speak, ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If not, let silence say it for you. Silence communicates more powerfully than words when it arises from calm awareness. Sometimes the most compassionate response is simply to listen fully, allowing another's pain to echo until it softens on its own. In relationships, silence creates space. It allows room for understanding to grow. When tempers rise, when words sharpen, when hearts close, silence can reopen the door. It says, "I will not add to this fire." It gives the other person the gift of reflection and yourself the gift of peace. But there's another kind of silence, the inner silence that lives beneath all thoughts. Even in noise, it is there. The stillness between heartbeats, between breaths, between moments. When you touch that silence, you realize it was never about escaping sound, but about finding the calm center that exists no matter how loud the world becomes. This silence is sacred. It is the soundless heartbeat of the universe, the background hum of existence itself. Every bird call, every human voice, every piece of music rises and falls within it. When you connect to this silence, fear fades, anxiety loosens, and clarity emerges. You see that all things come and go, but the silence remains. You remain. There's a saying in Zen, silence is thunder. It means that true silence doesn't hide, it awakens. The silence of understanding shakes the foundations of ignorance. The silence of compassion dissolves hatred. The silence of awareness transforms confusion into insight. You can use silence as a shield every time life tests you. When anger comes, let silence cool it. When sadness comes, let silence hold it. When joy comes, let silence expand it. The more you trust silence, the more you realize it's not empty, it's full of truth. And perhaps this is what enlightenment sounds like, not the booming voice of revelation, but the gentle hush of awareness saying, "All is well." So let the world make its noise. Let people misunderstand you. Let circumstances unfold as they must. You need not answer every accusation, nor chase every misunderstanding. Your silence will speak for you. It will say, "I am at peace, and nothing outside of me can take that away." And when you learn to rest in that silence, to wear it like armor and cradle it like a friend, you will discover the deepest peace of all the stillness that nothing can disturb. From this stillness, your journey moves toward its next realization, that beyond silence, beyond love, beyond surrender, lies the unchanging center of all things, the awakened self that is both empty and infinite. There is a moment on every spiritual path when the seeker pauses exhausted by chasing answers outside themselves. The questions that once burned begin to quiet. The mind softens its grip, and in that stillness, something ancient and wordless begins to rise. It is not a new idea, not a discovery, it is a remembrance. You are not finding something you lost. You are waking from a dream of separation. This is awakening to the true self, the self that was never born and will never die. The self that watches all things come and go, yet remains untouched. From the very beginning, we mistake the reflection for the reality. We look into the mirror of the world, roles, names, achievements, failures, and we say, "This is me." But everything the mirror shows is transient. The body ages, thoughts change, emotions shift, identities crumble. What remains? The one who watches, that silent witness, ever present, ever peaceful, is your true nature. The Buddha called this realization anatta, the understanding of no self. It doesn't mean you don't exist. It means you are not the separate, limited being you think you are. The you that suffers is a shadow cast by thought. The you that watches that suffering is infinite. Like the sky, it holds every storm without becoming wet. Think of the sky on a stormy day. Clouds gather, thunder rolls, lightning flashes. For a time, the sky seems dark and angry. But is the sky itself ever harmed? When the storm passes, the sky remains vast and unchanged. Your consciousness is like that sky. Thoughts, feelings, and experiences are the passing weather. But the sky does not identify with the clouds. We spend so much of life chasing identity building, defending, comparing. I am this kind of person. I am better than them. I am worse than them. Yet when the Buddha attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, his first words were not about superiority or self-definition. They were simple, wonder of wonders. All beings are already enlightened. They only need to see it. The awakening is not something you achieve. It's something you realize was always here. You peel away illusions like dust wiped from a mirror until your true reflection shines through. Close your eyes for a moment and ask, "Who am I?" Don't answer with your name, your work, or your story. Go deeper. Ask again. Who is aware of this question? Keep tracing the awareness back to its source. Every answer will dissolve until only silence remains, a silence that feels alive, luminous. That is you. This awareness has no edges. It existed before your first thought and will remain after your last breath. It is not limited by time or space. It is the same awareness that looked through the eyes of the Buddha, the same one that now looks through yours. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe aware of itself for a moment. When you awaken to this truth, fear begins to fade. You realize there is nothing to lose because nothing was ever truly yours. The body, the possessions, even the relationships, they are all waves rising and falling in the ocean of being. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. The wave cannot hold on to the shore. It can only merge back into the vastness it came from. And yet awakening does not mean abandoning the world. It means living in it with clarity. The awakened one still walks, speaks, eats, and loves, but without the heavy chains of me and mine. Life continues, but the suffering born of identification ends. You play your role fully, knowing it is a role, knowing you are the stage beneath it all. There's a story from Zen about a monk who asked his master, "What is enlightenment?" The master replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The monk frowned. "But we all do that." The master smiled. "No. When you eat, you are thinking of 1,000 things. When I eat, I just eat." The awakened mind lives completely in each moment, nothing extra, nothing missing. When you awaken to your true self, you stop searching for meaning as if it were hidden somewhere else. You realize that every moment is already complete. Washing a bowl, watching the rain, listening to laughter, each is a doorway into eternity when you are fully present. The greatest paradox is that awakening is both the simplest and the hardest thing. Simple because it requires no effort. Awareness is already here. Hard because we are addicted to noise and identity. We cling to our stories even when they hurt us because we fear the silence underneath. But the silence is not emptiness. It is freedom. Try this. Sit quietly for a few breaths. Notice the thoughts that come, plans, memories, judgments. Watch them rise and fade. Then ask softly, who is watching? Do not look for an image or an answer. Feel the space from which all thoughts arise and dissolve. Rest there. That space, vast, peaceful, unchanging, is what you have been all along. When you live from that awareness, compassion flows naturally. You see others not as strangers, but as waves of the same ocean. Their pain is your pain. Their joy is your joy. Love ceases to be personal, it becomes universal. You no longer love because you want, you love because you are. The awakened self is not special, it is natural. It is the return to your original simplicity before names and fears and desires. It is seeing with the eyes of truth that everything is connected, that nothing is separate, that all is impermanent yet whole. And in that knowing peace no longer depends on what happens. You become the calm at the center of every storm, the still witness of every change. You are not trying to be spiritual, you are remembering that you already are spirit. When you awaken to this truth, even death loses its sting. The form may vanish, but the awareness that animates it continues as light as air, as everything. There is nowhere to go, because you were never anywhere else. This is the mirror beyond the mirror, the one that reflects not your face, but your essence. To see it is to be free. To live from it is to be peace itself. And when this realization begins to settle gently into your daily life, another understanding dawns, that awakening is not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new one. A life lived in compassion, wisdom, and mindful action. Imagine a bird soaring high above a quiet valley. Its wings move in perfect harmony, one does not struggle while the other rests. If either wing faltered, the bird would fall. In Buddhist wisdom, that bird represents the awakened life, and its two wings are compassion and wisdom. Without compassion, wisdom becomes cold. Without wisdom, compassion becomes blind. Together, they lift the heart beyond suffering and carry the soul toward freedom. When you awaken to your true nature, as we spoke of before, the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. You no longer see me and them, mine and theirs. You begin to feel the subtle pulse of unity, the shared heartbeat beneath all beings. Out of that understanding, compassion blooms naturally. It is not forced. It is not a virtue to be practiced. It is the spontaneous response of an awakened heart to the realization that all beings suffer and that their suffering is not different from your own. The Buddha said, "If your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete." This is where wisdom must accompany compassion. True compassion does not drown in pity or exhaustion. It is balanced by understanding the wisdom that knows what can be changed and what must be accepted, that recognizes when to act and when to simply be present. Think of compassion as water and wisdom as the riverbank. Water without a bank floods and loses direction. A bank without water is barren. Together, they create a stream that nourishes everything it touches. To live with compassion is to see the pain of others and respond with presence, not panic. It is sitting beside someone suffering without trying to fix them, but also without turning away. It is the quiet strength that whispers, "I see you. I will not abandon you." But compassion is not limited to others. It begins with yourself. Many of us are harsh toward our own hearts, speaking to ourselves in ways we'd never speak to a friend. Yet the Buddha's path reminds us, until you learn to sit kindly with your own pain, your kindness toward others will always be incomplete. Start each day with this intention. May I be gentle with myself today. May I meet my pain with understanding. May I meet the pain of others with love. These small prayers reshape the currents of the mind. They turn judgment into tenderness, irritation into patience, fear into connection. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the clear seeing that guides compassion's flow. Wisdom is knowing that suffering is universal, that everything changes, that clinging only deepens pain. Wisdom is seeing that when you help someone, it's not you helping them, It's life assisting itself through the form of your actions. This insight prevents compassion from turning into pride or dependency. There's an old story from the Buddhist scriptures. A man once found a bird trapped in a cage. Out of pity, he opened the door and freed it. The bird flew a few feet and was caught again by another hunter. The man wept, saying, "My compassion failed." A monk nearby said softly, "Your compassion was pure, but it lacked wisdom. Next time, watch the sky and free the bird where it can truly fly." Wisdom gives compassion its wings. In our modern world, compassion and wisdom are often divided. One belongs to the heart, the other to the mind. But in truth, they are one movement seen from two sides. Compassion feels, wisdom knows. Compassion embraces, wisdom releases. Compassion enters the fire, wisdom carries the water. When both are present, life becomes balanced like breath, like day and night. To cultivate this union, practice mindful compassion. When you witness suffering, don't rush to fix it or flee from it. First, feel it fully. The ache, the helplessness, the wish for relief. Then breathe and ask, what is the most loving and skillful action I can take? Sometimes it's a word, sometimes a silence, sometimes simply a presence. Remember, compassion does not mean saying yes to everything. Sometimes the most compassionate act is a boundary, a no spoken, gently but firmly. Without wisdom, compassion can become enabling. With wisdom, it becomes transformative. Wisdom also means seeing the bigger picture, knowing that each person's path unfolds in its own time. You cannot walk another's road for them. You can only walk beside them with love. This understanding allows compassion to remain peaceful, even amid sorrow. As compassion deepens, your sense of self continues to soften. You begin to love, not because you choose to, but because love is what you are. You look at a stranger and see a reflection of your own soul. You see anger and know it as pain. You see cruelty and recognize it as ignorance. And suddenly, the world that once seemed harsh begins to glow with tenderness. In this state, even your smallest actions carry power. A kind word becomes a balm. A smile becomes medicine. A single breath taken mindfully becomes an offering to the world. Compassion and wisdom turn ordinary life into sacred practice, and yet this path is not one of perfection. You will falter. You will grow weary. You will forget. But compassion includes the forgetting, and wisdom includes the return. Each time you fall back into confusion, let that too be part of the learning. The heart that forgives itself quickly learns to forgive the world. In the end, the union of compassion and wisdom leads to freedom, not a distant paradise, but the freedom of being fully human, awake and kind in every breath. The awakened one does not live apart from the world, but moves through it gently, like a soft wind that cools the fevered and carries no trace of dust. So let your left wing be compassion, your right wing be wisdom, and trust that life will lift you higher with each beat. Together they will carry you beyond suffering, beyond illusion, into the open sky of peace that has always been waiting. And once you rise there, once your heart learns to fly freely in the balance of love and clarity, another truth will dawn, that enlightenment is not an escape from life, but a return to it, with eyes wide open. At the end of every pilgrimage, there comes a quiet moment when the traveler stands at the threshold, the journey behind them, the world before them, and a deep question rising from within. Now that I have seen the truth, how shall I live? This is the moment of return, not back to the noise of the old life, but into it carrying a new awareness, Enlightenment is not the escape from the world. It is the ability to walk through the marketplace with the same peace you found beneath the Bodhi tree. After awakening, the Buddha did not remain in the forest forever. He returned to the villages, to the dust, to the laughter and suffering of human life. He walked among kings and beggars alike, seeing all as part of the same great web of being. In that act, he revealed a profound teaching. Enlightenment is not a destination, it is a way of seeing. We often imagine spiritual awakening as a flash of light, a mountaintop experience that separates us from the ordinary. But true awakening makes everything extraordinary. Washing dishes, speaking to a stranger, watching the rain, each becomes a chance to meet life with full awareness. The sacred is not hidden. It is simply overlooked. When you awaken, you stop searching for meaning outside yourself. The morning sun rising through your window is enough. The sound of a child's laughter is enough. The simple act of breathing is enough. You realize that nothing was ever missing, only your attention. The Buddha once said, "If you want to understand the infinite, look deeply into the finite." Every detail of your life is a mirror reflecting the whole. Each breath contains the rhythm of the universe. Each heartbeat echoes eternity. When you see this, you no longer divide your life into spiritual and mundane. All becomes one continuous prayer. Imagine a potter shaping clay. Each spin of the wheel seems ordinary, repetitive. Yet within each motion lies creation. The clay, the hands, the breath, the intention, all merge into a single moment of mindfulness. This is what everyday enlightenment looks like, not withdrawing from life, but meeting it fully tenderly, without distraction. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you speak, speak truthfully. When you listen, listen completely. Every action, when performed with presence, becomes meditation. Try this small practice tomorrow morning when you wake. Do not rush for your phone or your thoughts. Feel the sheets against your skin. Listen to the quiet. Breathe deeply and whisper to yourself, "I am alive." In that single moment, gratitude awakens. Before you have done anything, you are already home. The great Zen masters used to say, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." What changes is not the task, but the one who performs it. The awakened one still chops wood, but now each swing of the axe is music. Each drop of sweat is devotion. Each moment is whole. When you begin to live this way, your presence becomes medicine. People around you feel calmer without knowing why. Your words carry peace, not because you intend them to, but because they rise from silence. Your life itself becomes a sermon unspoken, yet heard by all. Every difficulty you meet becomes a teacher. Every mistake an invitation to humility. Every encounter a mirror showing where love still waits to bloom. The awakened life does not avoid pain, it transforms it. When you no longer fight the dark, you begin to see the stars. There's a story of a disciple who once asked his master, "After enlightenment, what do we do?" The master smiled. "We live." The disciple frowned. "Just live?" The master nodded. "Yes, but now we live awake." Living awake means moving through life as both participant and witness, fully engaged yet inwardly free. You laugh, you cry, you work, you rest, but you no longer drown in the waves of emotion. You see them rise and fall within the ocean of awareness that you are. You no longer cling to the highs or fear the lows. You trust the tide. In this state, even ordinary acts become sacred rituals. Pouring tea becomes an offering. Listening becomes prayer. Silence becomes communion. You no longer seek enlightenment in temples or books, because you see everything as the temple, and every moment is the scripture. Wisdom is no longer separate from life. It flows through your fingertips. Compassion is no longer an idea. It lives in your gaze. Joy is no longer a pursuit. It blooms naturally from your being. And the most beautiful part of this return is that you stop trying to be spiritual. You no longer need to wear peace like a costume. You simply are. The river does not try to flow. It flows. The sun does not try to shine. It shines. When you return to your natural state, peace becomes effortless. The awakened life is not about escaping the world. It's about embracing it so completely that nothing remains outside your love. You care for others, not out of duty, but out of recognition. The same light that burns in you burns in them. You bow, not because you are lesser, but because you see divinity in all. Every day becomes an act of reverence. You no longer rush to tomorrow. You live deeply in today. You no longer fear endings. You see them as beginnings. You no longer seek enlightenment because you realize that you were never separate from it. You are the light, and you have been all along. So when someone asks you, "What is enlightenment?" smile softly and say, "Drinking tea." Breathing in, smiling out. For the truth is simple. Awakening is not about changing your life. It's about being fully alive in it. The journey does not end here. It never truly ends. Enlightenment is not a finish line, but a rhythm, a continuous unfolding, a return to simplicity again and again, until even the act of returning disappears and only being remains. And so, dear listener, walk gently through the world. Let your presence be a blessing. Let your breath be a prayer. Let your life be the teaching. For this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, is it. You have already arrived. There's a story the river tells. If you listen closely enough, it speaks of travelers who stand on its banks trying to grasp the water in their hands. They scoop and scoop, but the tighter they hold, the less they have. Only when they release their grip does the water finally touch their skin, cool and real. This is how most of us move through life, holding too tightly. We hold on to plans, people, outcomes, even identities. We try to control every current, to shape every wave, to decide when and how the river should flow. And then, when the river ignores us, when it bends unexpectedly or floods without warning, we call it failure. But it is not failure. It is life being what it has always been, uncontrollable, alive, free. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering lies in attachment, and attachment at its core is the illusion of control. We believe that if we just try hard enough, think long enough, or worry intensely enough, we can bend reality to our will. Yet the world keeps turning indifferent to our plans, graceful in its unpredictability. Look around you, every tree grows according to its own rhythm. The sun rises and sets without your command. Seasons change without permission. And yet everything unfolds with perfect precision. Control was never the source of order. Trust was. We often cling to control out of fear of loss, fear of uncertainty, fear of the unknown. We think control will keep us safe, but in truth, it is the cage that keeps us small. The tighter we hold, the more life slips through our fingers. There's a quiet power in surrender, not the surrender of weakness, but of wisdom, the understanding that life does not need your constant supervision. The Buddha called this letting go of clinging to the illusion of self as master of all things. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. You cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sail. Consider this: when a storm hits the forest, the rigid trees often break, while the bamboo bends and survives. The flexible survive, not because they are stronger, but because they understand the rhythm of impermanence. Life too demands flexibility, a willingness to bow rather than break. Think about your own life, the plans that fell apart, the relationships that ended, the dreams that transformed. At the time, they may have felt like loss, but looking back, can you see how each moment led you here to a place you couldn't have planned? That is the quiet perfection of what we cannot control. To live without the illusion of control does not mean to live carelessly. It means to act fully wisely and then release the outcome. You plant the seed, but you do not pull the sprout from the soil to make it grow faster. You do your part and trust the rest to the unfolding of the universe. Here's a practice next time you find yourself worrying about something you can't control: the actions of others, the future, the past. Pause. Take a slow breath and ask yourself, what belongs to me in this moment? Usually, it's very little, perhaps only your response, your intention, your next breath. Focus there. Let the rest fall like leaves into the river. When you release control, you begin to see life as a dance rather than a battle. Every challenge becomes a partner guiding you toward balance. Every unexpected turn becomes choreography in the larger design. You stop fighting the rhythm and start moving with it. It takes courage to let go, because letting go means trusting. Trusting that even if you do not steer the current, knows the way. It always has. The same intelligence that turns acorns into forests and rain into rivers is moving through you. You are not separate from that force. You are it expressed in human form. There is peace in this realization, a peace so profound, it doesn't depend on outcomes. When you release control, you rediscover wonder. The smallest moments, the laughter of a stranger, the movement of clouds, the scent of rain begin to feel like gifts rather than interruptions. You become available again to the miracle of being alive. At the end of his life, the Buddha was asked, "What have you gained from meditation?" He smiled and said, "Nothing. But let me tell you what I have lost: anger, anxiety, fear of death, and the need to control. To live freely is to trust deeply. To trust deeply is to live awake. So loosen your grip. Let the river move as it will. The current has always known the way home, and as we surrender to that flow, another truth begins to shimmer in the water, the recognition that everything we try to hold is already changing. This brings us to the next teaching, the dance that all life performs, whether we notice it or not, the dance of impermanence. There is a leaf trembling at the edge of a branch. Morning light touches it, and for a moment it glows alive, radiant, weightless. By evening, the wind will carry it away, and the tree will stand bare again. To the unseeing eye, its loss; to the wise heart, its rhythm. This is impermanence, the pulse of existence, the heartbeat of life itself. Everything rises, everything falls, every joy, every sorrow, every breath appearing and vanishing in an endless dance. Yet we resist this truth more fiercely than any other. We cling to what we love, we fight what we fear, we mourn what we lose. But beneath our resistance lies the most profound secret. Impermanence is not tragedy, it is freedom. The Buddha's final words were simple, luminous, and eternal. All compounded things are impermanent. Work out your own liberation with diligence. He was reminding us that change is not the enemy. It is the nature of all things. To deny impermanence is to deny life. To embrace it is to awaken. Look around you. Nothing you see will last forever. The mountains will erode, the stars will fade. Even this breath will dissolve into the next. And yet life continues transforming, evolving, rebirthing itself endlessly. What you call ending is just a doorway disguised. Think of the ocean. Waves crash and disappear, but the sea remains. You too are like that ocean. Thoughts rise and fall, emotions surge and pass, people come and go. But the awareness, the deep sea within you remains. When you identify with the waves, life feels unstable. When you rest as the ocean, you begin to trust the movement. We suffer not because things change, but because we expect them not to. We want permanence in a world that was never meant to be still. We want youth to last, love to stay, success to never waver. But everything in nature, from the smallest seed to the largest galaxy, lives by one law: impermanence. There's a story of a monk who asked his teacher, "How can I find peace in a world where everything falls apart?" The teacher lifted a clay cup and said, "See this cup. To me, it is already broken. Because I know it will one day shatter, I can enjoy it fully now. When it finally breaks, I will say, 'Ah, yes, here you are.'" That is the wisdom of impermanence. Knowing that everything we have is already changing allows us to love it more deeply, not less. When we cling, we live in fear. When we release, we live in love. Impermanence is the soil in which compassion grows. Because we know everything changes, we become gentler toward others, toward ourselves. We hold life tenderly, knowing it is fleeting. Imagine how different your days would feel if you lived each moment as if it were the last time you might experience it. The last sunrise, the last conversation, the last touch. Every gesture would become sacred, every word deliberate, every breath precious. This is not morbid, it is awakening. Impermanence gives life its beauty. Without endings, nothing would have value. Think of music. A single note, if held forever, would be unbearable. It is the space between notes, the pauses, the endings that create melody. Life is the same. It is beautiful because it moves. To practice the awareness of impermanence, begin with small things. Watch the clouds shift in the sky. Notice how the warmth of tea cools in your hands. Observe your own emotions, how anger flares and fades, how joy rises and subsides. See how nothing stays yet everything belongs. When you feel pain, remember this too will pass. When you feel joy, remember this too will pass. Not as a warning, but as a gentle reminder to be present, to experience it fully without clinging or fear. Impermanence teaches us to live completely in this moment, because this moment is the only one that truly exists. In Buddhism, impermanence is not a reason for despair, but the doorway to liberation. Because everything changes, everything is possible. No suffering lasts forever. No mistake defines you. Every breath is a new beginning. When we stop fighting the flow of change, we begin to dance with it. We move like the seasons, blooming, shedding, resting, returning. We learn to say yes to the rhythm instead of trying to rewrite the song. And something miraculous happens when you do. You begin to notice the beauty in transience, the brief smile of a stranger, the sound of rain, the moment light touches the wall before dusk. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and realize that perfection is now, because now is all there ever is. The Japanese call this awareness mono no aware, the gentle sadness and beauty that arises from knowing that all things are temporary. A cherry blossom is precious precisely because it falls. So do not mourn impermanence, bow to it. Bow to the passing day, to the fading flower, to the changing face in the mirror. Bow to the truth that you too are part of this grand unfolding. When you make peace with impermanence, you stop clutching at life and start dancing with it. And that dance, that effortless rhythm of arising and passing away, reveals something even deeper, the beauty of emptiness itself, the quiet space in which all things are born, and to which all things return. There is a moment just before dawn when the world seems to hold its breath. The air is still, the light unborn, the silence vast. In that pause, something sacred is revealed, not in what is present, but in what is absent. This is the essence of shunyata, emptiness, the heart of all Buddhist teaching. To the ordinary mind, emptiness sounds like nothingness, a void, a loss. But to the awakened heart, emptiness is fullness beyond measure. It is not the absence of life, but the infinite space that allows life to appear. Without emptiness, there would be no room for anything to exist. Look at a cup. It holds tea not because of its clay, but because of the space inside. Look at a home. You dwell in it not because of its walls, but because of the emptiness between them. Likewise, consciousness holds life not because of what fills it, but because of the boundless awareness within which all experiences arise. The Buddha taught that all things are empty, empty of fixed identity, empty of permanence, empty of separateness. This does not mean they are meaningless. It means they are alive, fluid, interconnected. Everything is in motion, interdependent, becoming and unbecoming in every instant. The mountain, the cloud, the river, you all are the same dance of energy, briefly taking form before returning to the formless. When we cling to things, to our stories, our identities, our possessions, we forget this truth. We take what is temporary and call it solid. We take what is fluid and call it self. We mistake the reflection for the moon. Emptiness invites us to see through that illusion. Imagine a wave rising from the ocean. For a moment, it has a name, a shape, a height. It believes it is separate, I am a wave. But the moment it falls back, it realizes I was never anything but the sea. Emptiness is that realization. It doesn't destroy individuality. It frees it. You can still live as the wave dance, move, shine, but without fear of ending, because you know you are the ocean too. When you understand emptiness, fear begins to dissolve. Fear thrives on attachment, on the belief that there is something permanent to lose. But when you see that everything is a process, not a possession, you stop trying to hold on. You start to flow with grace like the wind moving through open space. Emptiness also reveals compassion, because when you see that no self exists independently, you realize that the suffering of others is your own. The boundary between me and you softens. You can no longer harm another without feeling it ripple through your own being. The illusion of separation is what allows cruelty. The truth of emptiness is what restores love. Think about the sky. It does not cling to the clouds. It does not resist the storm. It allows everything to pass through untouched. Your true self, your awareness, is that sky. Thoughts and emotions come and go, but the vastness that holds them remains unmoved. To recognize this is to experience peace that nothing can disturb. There is a story from the Zen tradition about a master who held up an empty bowl and said to his students, "This bowl is perfect because it is empty." One student objected, "But master, an empty bowl is useless." The teacher smiled. "Precisely. Because it is useless, it can serve all purposes. In emptiness lies infinite potential. Modern life is crowded with noise, information, expectation. We fill every moment, every silence, every space. But wisdom begins where clutter ends. When you allow emptiness, when you stop filling the space, truth has room to breathe. Creativity blooms. Intuition awakens. Peace returns. Try this. Sit quietly and let your thoughts flow without grasping. Watch them arise and fade like clouds. Feel the space between thoughts. That space still awake vast is not nothing. It is awareness itself. Rest there. That is the essence of emptiness. In relationships, emptiness means freedom from possession. You can love without claiming give, without expecting care, without controlling. In grief, emptiness offers solace for what is lost has simply changed form. The love that once appeared as a person now lives as memory, fragrance, wind. Nothing is ever truly gone. It only transforms. When you see emptiness clearly, even suffering transforms. You realize pain too is impermanent, a ripple passing through consciousness. You no longer say, "I am suffering." You say, "There is suffering," and suddenly space opens around it. The pain no longer consumes you. You can breathe again. Emptiness is the great paradox. It looks like nothing yet contains everything. It is the womb of existence, the silence from which sound is born, the canvas upon which life paints its colors. To understand emptiness is to awaken to your boundless nature, to the truth that you are not the contents of life, but the space that holds them. There's a moment in deep meditation when all distinctions fade between self and world body, and breath, sound, and silence. You open your eyes, and everything glows, not because it has changed, but because you have. You no longer see objects, you see energy. You no longer see separation, you see flow. This is the beauty of emptiness. When nothing is solid, everything can shine. So let yourself become empty of judgments, of fear, of needing to be someone. In that emptiness, you will not disappear. You will expand. You will find that life was never asking you to be more. It was asking you to be less full of yourself, so that truth could enter. And once you taste that vastness, once you live as the open sky instead of the passing cloud, a new kind of wisdom dawns. How to act in this world with presence, with purpose, with mindful awareness. Imagine standing beside a still lake at dawn. The surface is so calm, it mirrors the sky perfectly, every cloud, every hue of light, reflected without distortion. Now imagine dropping a single pebble into that water. Ripples spread outward, each one carrying the energy of that one small act. This is what happens with every action you take. Each word, each choice, each thought sends waves through the fabric of life. In Buddhism, mindfulness is not just about sitting in meditation. It's about moving through the world with awareness so precise that even your smallest gestures become sacred. The Buddha called it right action, not right as in moral superiority, but right as in aligned with truth, compassion, and understanding. The art of mindful action begins with stillness. You cannot act wisely if your heart is turbulent. When you move from stillness, your actions carry clarity instead of chaos, intention instead of impulse. The mind that is quiet sees clearly. The mind that is restless reacts blindly. We live in a world that worships speed, fast thinking, fast results, fast success. But mindfulness is the opposite of haste. It asks you to slow down until each action becomes intentional. The Zen masters often say, "Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet." That is mindful action, deliberate, gentle, awake. When you live this way, every movement, brushing your teeth, speaking to a friend, sending an email, becomes meditation. You no longer divide your day into spiritual and ordinary. There is no ordinary moment when you are fully present. Think about cooking a meal. In haste, it's just a task, but in mindfulness, it becomes an act of devotion. The feel of the knife in your hand, the scent of herbs rising in the air, the sizzle of oil meeting vegetables, the gratitude for nourishment. When awareness enters the act, the mundane transforms into art. The Buddha once said, "In every action, let there be no trace of self." What does this mean? It means that when you act without ego, your actions become pure expressions of life itself. The I that wants praise, recognition, or control dissolves. What remains is simple, radiant doing, like the sun shining or the wind blowing. It does not think I am shining. It simply shines. True mindfulness also means acting without attachment to results. You do what is right, not because it guarantees success, but because it is aligned with wisdom. When a farmer plants seeds, he doesn't demand that each one sprout at once. He simply tends the soil waters and trusts the seasons. Your efforts too are offerings to the rhythm of life, not demands upon it. To practice mindful action, start with awareness of the body. Notice how you move, how you sit, how you breathe. Let movement arise from presence, not habit. Then bring awareness to speech before you speak. Pause for a heartbeat and ask, is this true? Is this kind? Is this necessary? Words once released cannot return. They ripple through time, shaping lives unseen. Then, bring awareness to intention. Before acting, ask, why am I doing this? If the answer is fear, ego, or desire for control, pause. If it is love, compassion, or clarity, proceed. The mind may try to justify haste, but the heart always knows the truth. In the Mahayana teachings, mindfulness is called the guardian of the mind. It watches over your actions like a gentle lamp illuminating what is unconscious. When mindfulness accompanies action, mistakes become lessons instead of burdens. You see what went wrong without shame, and you adjust with patience. There's a story of a monk who swept the temple courtyard every morning. One day, another monk asked, "Why do you sweep so slowly?" The first monk replied, "Because I am not just cleaning the courtyard, I am cleaning my mind." Each movement was a prayer, each sweep an act of purification. That is mindful action, not focused on the dust outside, but the dust within. Mindful action also means understanding timing. Sometimes the most skillful action is no action at all. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when silence will heal more deeply. It's knowing when to push forward and when to let life unfold. Acting mindfully is like playing music. The pauses are as important as the notes. When you act with mindfulness, you begin to sense the subtle harmony beneath all events. You realize you are not an isolated doer, but part of a vast choreography. Life moves through you as wind through bamboo. Your actions become offerings rather than assertions, blessings rather than burdens. And even in the busiest moments, driving, working, caring for others, a part of you remains still observing, breathing untouched. This is the paradox of mindful action. The more deeply you engage with life, the more silent your inner being becomes. You move without losing stillness. You act without leaving the present. Mindful action is not about perfection. It's about sincerity. It's about doing one thing fully, not flawlessly. When you wash a bowl, wash only the bowl. When you listen, listen as if the universe were speaking. When you love, love as if you will never lose. Presence makes every act holy. And when you act with such presence, even the smallest deeds, a smile, a kind word, a breath taken with awareness, ripple outward to touch lives you'll never know. The world heals through 1,000 unseen gestures of mindfulness. Eventually, you discover that mindful action is not separate from meditation. It is meditation in motion. Sitting in silence and walking through the marketplace are the same when the heart is awake. You become the meeting point between stillness and movement, between being and doing. And as you live this way, gracefully moving through life's unfolding, a deeper realization begins to dawn that beyond all your actions, all your efforts, all your becoming, there is only one great truth. You were never separate from life at all. You have always been part of something vast, luminous, and whole. That realization leads us into the final chapter of this series, the return to oneness, the home beyond all journeys. There is a moment after a long journey when the traveler finally stops walking. The path behind them stretches into memory, the horizon softens, and an unexpected silence arises, not the silence of distance, but of arrival. And in that stillness, something ancient whispers, "You were home all along." This is the essence of returning to oneness, the quiet realization that there was nowhere to go and nothing to become. You were never separate. You only dreamed that you were. From the moment we are born, the mind begins to divide the world, this and that, you and me, right and wrong, gain and loss. We build our lives on boundaries like children drawing lines in sand. Yet every wave erases them. The truth of oneness is not hidden. It is simply covered by our constant habit of separation. The Buddha called this illusion Maya, the dream of duality. We think we are a self moving through a world of others, but in reality, we are the entire ocean moving as a wave. The air you breathe has passed through countless lungs. The food you eat was once sunlight. Every cell of your body carries the memory of stars. How can there be separation in a universe made of one breath? To return to oneness is to wake up from the dream of isolation. It is not a new state to reach. It is the recognition of what has always been true. The river was never apart from the sea. It only believed it was because it hadn't yet touched the shore. Imagine standing in the middle of a forest. Every tree rises differently, some tall, some twisted, some broken. Yet all are rooted in the same earth, fed by the same rain, touched by the same sun. The forest does not argue about difference. It sings in harmony. The awakened mind sees life this way, as countless expressions of one eternal being. When you begin to see through the illusion of separateness, compassion becomes effortless. You no longer love others out of moral duty, but because they are not others. Their joy and pain move through the same field of awareness that animates you. Hurting another becomes as senseless as hurting your own hand. This realization transforms how you live. You stop competing and start collaborating. You stop clinging to mine and yours because you see that all arises from the same source. Gratitude replaces greed. Humility replaces pride. The boundaries of the ego soften, and life begins to flow through you instead of around you. There's a story of a student who asked a Zen master, "What happens after enlightenment?" The master replied, "The river flows, the birds sing, and I chop wood." The student frowned. "But isn't that what happens before enlightenment?" The master nodded. "Yes, but now I see that the wood, the river, and I are not three. They are one." This is the return to oneness, not withdrawal from life, but intimacy with it. You no longer stand apart observing. You dissolve into participation. You taste the fruit and know you are the tree. You feel the wind and know you are the sky. You hear laughter and realize it is your own echo in another form. Stillness deepens in this recognition, not because you avoid the world, but because you finally stop resisting it. Every sound, every movement, every face becomes a reflection of the one eternal consciousness. You see yourself everywhere in the eyes of strangers, in the shimmer of rain, in the stillness between heartbeats. Try this sit quietly. Close your eyes and feel your breath. Notice how it moves, entering, leaving constant, unowned. Ask yourself, where does this breath come from? Where does it go? The answer will dissolve into mystery, but you will feel it. The endless exchange. The truth that breath has never belonged to you. It is life breathing through life. When you walk through the world with this awareness, everything softens. You speak with kindness, not because you should, but because there is no longer a you separate from the one being spoken to. You act with care because every act becomes self-care for the universe itself. The boundaries of self dissolve into the rhythm of belonging. In the deepest states of meditation, this unity becomes tangible. The sense of I falls away. There is only awareness, vast, luminous, infinite, watching itself move. You realize that birth and death are waves in the same sea, that loss and gain are shadows cast by the same light. You understand that even suffering has always been part of the great unfolding, the universe learning to know itself through contrast. Returning to oneness is not a disappearance. It is a homecoming. You don't vanish into the void, you expand into everything. You see that consciousness was never trapped inside your body. Your body was a temporary expression of consciousness. You were never in the universe. You are the universe aware of itself for a fleeting moment of eternity. When this truth settles in the heart, life becomes luminous. The ordinary shines. The taste of water, the sound of footsteps, the warmth of sunlight all become gateways to the infinite. You begin to live as the space between things, not as the things themselves. Nothing to protect, nothing to prove, nothing to become. Just being. Just awareness. And yet, even after realizing this, life continues. Dishes need washing, hearts need tending, paths need walking. The difference is now you move through it all without resistance. Each breath, each moment, each interaction becomes a prayer, a silent bow to the sacred unity that holds all things. This is the end of seeking. The pilgrim lays down their staff, not because there is nowhere else to go, but because they see they were never walking alone. Every step was the earth loving itself through their feet. Every tear was the ocean remembering itself in the salt of the human eye. When you return to oneness, there is nothing left to chase. You stop asking, "Who am I?" and begin to whisper, "I am all." And in that whisper, the universe answers through birdsong, through laughter, through silence. Yes, you are. The journey is over. The journey has just begun, and both, as always, are the same.